Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where the orchard of wisdom shows are at your fingertips. It ignites your soul, your heart, your spirit, your mind, and your body with illumination from people who have made the journey before you. They're here now to help you on your journey, on your path of self-discovery. We are funded by you, the audience, and the people we interview. If you wish to support us, please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com and press on our Fund Action button. Anything is appreciated. We'd like you to sit back and enjoy the shows. Here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living right here at selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Sharon Brecher, and we're going to be talking about the do's and don'ts of sending your kid to college. The miserable mom. Well, some people do find it really, really miserable when the kids have suddenly left home, the empty nesters. There's all that anxiety and stress of sending them to college. Is it the right college? Are they going to be safe in college? They're no longer under your roof. And, it can make somebody pretty miserable, not only the sending them, but once they've gone. And so we're going to be talking today about high anxiety of the do's and don'ts to pre-college prep, the holy shoot, your kid is leaving the nest, and the overbearing parents reminder, step back, and so your child can shine at college, the new back to normal at home, shaking, suffocating, controlling those left behind, raging hormones and midlife. Yeah, they seem to time themselves at the same time there. Live and learn, and also the emotions of change. What now? And for a lot of people, my kids are all grown up. Some went to college, some didn't. But it is that letting go of the reins, isn't it? When they're out there, you kind of, you're still in mother mode. You always will be in mother mode. And you always want to kind of input and say something. And it's not always warranted when they're at that choice, just thing of life. I'm going to choose my own path, Mum. Thank you very much. Welcome to the show, love.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Uh, Is it the empty nest? Is it the anxiety of them going? Is it what is my identification now? Is it a whole hodgepodge of these things?
So, as you said, the book is called Miserable Mom, The Do's and Don'ts of Sending Your Kid to College. And it's a book for parents that encompasses the period of time spanning from preparing your kids to go to college to dropping them off at the dorms and then returning home without them. And it's a very emotional time. And the book is about the hilarious ways those emotions come out during this phase of parenting.
Yes, and it can be extremely embarrassing for your kids.
Absolutely.
But it is an emotional time. Like I'm a grandmother now, and when I held my grandson, it was just a wonderful feeling of I can completely pour my love into this child. I'm not responsible for the daily, upbringing. And when you've been immersed in it, from conception up to that point, everything that happens in their life, you kind of take on as your responsibility. And all of a sudden, they're responsible for themselves. What now?
That's right. Absolutely. So completely. And because you don't know what to expect, it causes this level of anxiety no matter how it comes out. And some people show it outwardly. Some people just think about it. Some people are very good at keeping it at bay. Some people not so much. So the book is about my raw and honest story. And in addition, there are funny do and don't illustrations that portray the ways one should behave during this period of time and the ways that I and other people around me actually behaved or at least thought about.
Right, exactly. There really, I mean, it's great that you're doing this book because there really isn't a kind of a guidance system for when the kids are leaving home, whether they're going to college or whether they're going off on their own in life.
That's right.
It's suddenly they've been your concern, forever, and now suddenly they don't need you anymore, so you think, and you still want to be there for them, and you really don't know what role you're in now, do you?
That's exactly right. You really don't. And so, as much as it is, I mean, clearly about them going to college
Mm,
and growing up and having their experiences, this book honors those changes that
mm,
happen to mom as
yes.
well. And they are huge changes because it's like you said, it's time to let go of the reins
Hmm.
and let them be. You can still be there and help them and all of that, but really all of a sudden, like,
Yeah.
you're not there for everything. All the lessons that you tried to teach them, did they hear them? Are they going
Mm,
to listen to them? Are they going to call you? Are they, all the things? And now what's your home life going to be like when that kid is no longer there? I had a younger child too when I wrote this book, and so we were all a little concerned that I was going to completely suffocate him. Now my husband and I, the attention was going to completely be on our son.
yeah.
And so there's just a whole big balancing act. And I think it is just kind of fun to step back and take a look at what those emotions make us do, how they make us feel, how they make us act. And laugh a little bit,
Yeah.
because it's a lot more fun and a lot easier if you realize that other people are going through it too, and you can see the humor in it, like anything in life.
My kids are all in their 30s. And so now and again, when we get together, they come up with a memory. Do you remember that time when mum did this? And, the one thing they've accepted that it doesn't matter how old they get, I will always be mama, and
Yep.
I'll always worry about them and I'll always have some input. The one thing we realize as mothers, we can't give that input until they're ready to receive it or ask for it. Right.
Right.
And that
Right.
really does start even as a teenager, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in a lot of ways, that's what this book is about. It's about honoring letting your kids grow up and
Mm,
becoming the people who you want them to grow
yeah.
up and become. We want them to grow up and be independent and be able to move out and go to college or do whatever they can do, and that's what we want. It just doesn't mean that it isn't a little bit emotional for us, a little
Hmm.
challenging to let go and step back. And you know and that can be kind of funny to look at, because those emotions, at least for me, and I have to assume other people too, can make you kind of act a little differently than you would when you're not feeling quite so emotional.
Well, especially as teenagers, suddenly they go from being this kid that can't do enough for you, from almost the exorcist, the head turning around, you know, and and it's
Absolutely.
and it's like they're making choices, and you think, God, that they're making these choices, and I'm here to pick it up, but what happens when I'm not there? And it's we
Yes.
have to trust that the core values, the the deep love, I always would say to parents, please, any form of discipline must never, ever, ever be put in the same category as love. Love is love. You love them. If you're disciplining them, it's on an action and a choice that they've made, but never use love as a weapon, because that is going to cause so many problems down the road. But we see them make these mistakes, and then all of a sudden, they're in the midst of these mistakes and discovering themselves, and they're going to go off on their own. And it's like, but what happens now? Will they call me? Will they let me know? Will I ever know? And believe me, I've still got some stories that are coming out now that I didn't know about then.
Of
And
course.
actually,
Of
I'm
course.
grateful I didn't know about them then.
Absolutely. Well, it's actually really funny that you say that, because, my husband and I always raise the kids to say, you can tell us anything.
Yeah.
We will be here for you. We will listen to you. And then we like to joke that when they do, and it's something that's challenging, we're like, hey, right. They listen. They actually thought we wanted to know all of this. And
Yes.
and the reality is we do, and we're thankful that they share. But you want to take care of your kids. You want
Yeah.
to you want to do everything for them. It's funny, when you were talking, it made me think. So one of the do's and don'ts in my book is about letting your kids make the decisions that are right for them. So when my daughter was preparing herself for college, the first, can you see this?
Yes, I
The
can.
first do is give your child space about her decisions related to college. And the don't is don't manipulate her decisions. What's best for you may not be what's best for her.
Right.
And it's about me and my husband trying to bribe her. There's a picture of car keys and money and everything to keep her close. And, that for her wasn't the right decision. Doesn't mean that I didn't think about all of those things. I didn't actually try to bribe her, but thinking about it was kind of fun and and it was a release for me. It was a little therapy for me.
Right, exactly. It kind of brings up the movie King Richard that I've just seen. And there's a scene in there because he had the plan written before they were born, right?
Right.
And his placing value on their education and them as a well-being and not being burnt out as a tennis player did prepare them for the success they had. But there is one point where she says, I've just got to play this. And I know you want me to wait, but I've got to play this. And, and it was his fear, that vulnerability from his past that was holding her back. And he had to step down from that and let go of those reins because he held those reins tightly, and let her go and do it. And, that's the thing. Sometimes we have to let our kids go and fall, but we hope that we've taught them to get back up again.
That's right.
Or even come home and we'll help heal,
That's right.
Okay. And letting go of those reins and then suddenly finding yourself that there's somebody there that you really kind of in a way don't have any say. I know it's my choice now. I'm going to make the decisions now. And he's like, can I make a suggestion? No.
Right.
It's like, well, what's my identity anymore? Am I still your mom?
Right, exactly. Well, and it's funny. And so sometimes it's exactly what you said and saying like, can I still ask? And then one of the things I like to talk about in the book is when my daughter first went off to college, I was kind of aware of that, and I wanted to allow her to make some of those decisions on her own and call me if she needed me. And so I talk about how in a lot of ways I would stop myself from calling her or texting her all the time. And that in ways it was like dating my daughter because I was trying to like give her a little bit of space, and what you hope is that they take that space, they do with it what they should, and in a positive way, and they can affect the world and themselves and a positive way and keep the relationship with you, and that they come back and the relationship just keeps growing.
And I think it's also important to know that our kids are going to make mistakes. That's part of how they learn. We never want them to feel either a failure or they can't come home. Right. And what you want them to do is feel comfortable enough that at that time period they can come home, and that it's okay for them to be a little boy or girl again and help them through this. This isn't a sign of weakness, right? That this was just something that was a bit too much to handle on their own. And I think that is a question of how we handle the situation prior to them going away as to whether they're going to come back and share anything with us.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And I think that truly the book is about vulnerability and a mom's vulnerability, my vulnerability, and the fears that we have and the worries that we have and just all the thoughts that we have and the insecurities. We're all human. And I think the book is kind of about celebrating that truly and being an example and showing our kids that, look, I'm your mom and I still worry about things. I still have fears. I still don't have all of the answers, but that's okay because that's life, that's growing, that's learning, and it's okay. And, if things make you act out sometimes, that's okay too. And we can take a step back and analyze or think about what we could do differently the next time or what we should have or shouldn't have done. But we're human and it's okay.
Yeah, we've got to leave judgment out, haven't we?
Exactly.
We have no control over our kids if we're trying to control our kids.
Right.
That just pushes them away. But I think is if they respect our input or the
Yeah.
reason why we've led them down that particular path, then they're more open to being open and honest with us.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And, one of the ways that my family deals with, with stuff in life, is we laugh and
Yes.
we joke around a lot. And that can be really healing and really helpful. And help you even talk about things
Mm.
that are just easier to talk about if you're able to kind of laugh about it, or, so I just think that 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 laughing and knowing that everybody goes through all of these emotions and all of that is just a really healthy, healing thing for our kids to know. And it's so much more fun
But
to
only
laugh.
if you're able to laugh at yourself, because
Absolutely.
if you can't laugh at yourself, you feel they're laughing at you. When you
Right.
can laugh along with them, it means,
Yes.
you're owning your quirks and everything else that you are. But you've got to lighten up in your own life and go, you know what? I mean, they go, Mom, do you remember when you did that? Yeah, I did. It was an embarrassing moment. I don't need to be
Yeah,
reminded. And it's like
totally.
we have to learn to forgive ourselves for any choices we may have made down the road, but also to learn to laugh at ourselves, because otherwise we're going to feel it's an attack or it's a
Yes.
judgment rather than,
Yes.
yeah, I was an idiot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is such a great point. And it is really, truly what I tried to do in this book. It's
Mm.
really about, if anything, I am making fun of myself in
Mm.
this book because I think it's a really great way to show what I was feeling and
Mm.
going through and seeing around me. And I think that it's just, if you can laugh and see the humor in it, it can
Yes.
just be a very healing thing. It can be an educational tool. It can make people feel like, oh, I did that too, and
I
that's
know.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, sometimes they're going off to college and you remember your college days.
Right.
And it's
Like,
like, oh my
what?
God. Yeah. I don't know. I can't tell them about that. Yeah.
Totally.
And then they, at some point they'll come up and tell a story and you go, yeah, I did that too. What? Because they've got an
Yep.
image of mum that is an image of mum. And they forget you are a woman, you're a person,
Yeah.
you're in your own self-discovery, your own exploration in life, and you're going to go and do things that are crazy as well. The one thing
Totally.
they don't like is when you do it when you're older. They think it's only a young person's
Absolutely.
game, but no,
Yeah.
no, we're going to carry on being quirky and making mistakes and doing wacky things right to the day we go, because that's life experience. That is immersing yourself in life.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's why truly the do's and don'ts are a combination of the things that I did that were completely humiliating or embarrassing or whatever it was for them, and the things that I didn't actually do because I was able to keep myself from doing
Mm.
them, but I really wanted to.
Well, I mean,
Like,
like the hug.
right.
Yeah, the hug and the kiss. I mean, you want to hold on a little tighter. It's okay, Mum. It's okay. Yeah.
So complete here, I'm going to show you one more of my do's and don'ts. So one is to say your real goodbyes in the comfort of your own home,
Right.
and don't do it in public. You may be leaving, but your kid has to live there. And it's me holding on to my daughter's ankles and everybody's
Don't go.
right. So that one I didn't actually do. I didn't hold on to her
But it was in
ankles.
the head. Yes, you
I
wanted to
wanted
do that.
to.
Oh God,
I
yeah,
wanted to.
yeah. But now coming, they've gone.
Yep.
You don't want to turn around and smother the other child, because the other child looks at you coming through the door and goes, "Oh my God."
Absolutely. Completely. And I was, I, as I knew I would be,
Mm.
I was unapologetic a lot of the times in my trying to spend as much time as possible with him before he too was out the
Yeah.
door. So, I bribed him with sushi lunches and I made his favorite meals. And, the truth is I wouldn't change any of it.
No. And nor would he, actually.
And
Yeah.
nor would he.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how embarrassing it is at the moment.
Yeah.
It is like when they look back and go, I'm glad mum wanted to have so much time with me, right? Because
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
see far too many mums that are just not present for their children's upbringing, never mind them going, off to school or anything. And a lot of that comes from their environment, the way they've been brought up, or no love given to them, and they just don't know how to give love to their own children. So I think that, my son, he has a restaurant and goes, yeah, she's everyone's mom. You can have her too,
so nice.
And it's, and yeah, I'm quite happy to play mama role anywhere,
Absolutely.
because if you want to talk, benefit of my own life wisdom, that's great. If you just simply want to hug, I'm there, because we never
That's
stop being
great.
mothers. And when we step into grandmas, we become then the grandmas. It is they
That's going to
get
be
to
fun.
yeah, oh god, it is, but they get to a point in life where that kind of mother they want again, right?
Yeah.
But while they're spreading their wings, it is like, let me do this, I know you love me, but let me do this, right?
That's right.
um don't spoil my cred here.
Exactly. And it's funny because you can look back and laugh at all of the hilarious ways that you felt or dealt with, and exactly what you're saying. When you're in it, it
Yes.
just feels so big
Yeah.
and so heavy, and so what's going to happen, and is it going to be okay, and is my kid going to call, and is my kid going to remember to do laundry at college, and I mean,
make
just like
bed.
right, exactly, the really important things and the not so important things. So so that's what this book is about, that high anxiety period of time when you're in it and you're not really sure how it's all going to play out. It's awesome on the other side when you're like, whew, that was fine. And how funny that was.
Yes. But it's also they're going into college now, but what if they then go somewhere else for a job? Are they ever going to come home? And for some, it's totally final. No, they're never going to come home again to live, right?
Yep.
So now you've got to look at it and go, oh, okay, I had a hustle and bustle house, out the door for this, and, quick meals for this and that. Mom, I need this, and, I need it now. And then all of a sudden, that's not there anymore. And it's like, okay, who am I now?
Yeah, right.
And that it can be quite a shock to suddenly find yourself, well, actually, I was a woman before I became a mother, right?
Absolutely.
Or maybe a career woman or whatever. And it's like, well, who am I now? Because you're no longer the person you used to be. But this is the time to explore who you are now.
Absolutely. And I think that's why a lot of women, in their 50-ish age group, start changing and going for act 2. They pivot, they figure out, who they either want to continue to be or what they want to do now. And that was the case for me. I've never written a book before or done any of this. And the experience was just so much fun that I ended up starting an Instagram page and a website. It's at Miserable Moms, and the website is miserablemoms.com. And I attack all the midlife stuff. So it's like midlife unfiltered and questionable parenting and starvation and torture and holiday havoc. And it's like all of those midlife things that we deal with. And I do the illustrations and commentaries about everyday stuff, and that's my pivot. Because I didn't do this when the kids were younger and growing up. That was a different life in a lot of ways, different. And when they grow up and move out, and you all of a sudden realize, like, okay, now what does it mean for me? And I think that I have a lot of friends that are pivoting and figuring it out right now. I think that's a normal thing.
Yes.
right?
And you know, some people have had careers through this, and but even their careers change, you know, that
Totally.
there is that age, you know, anything 45 to 65, you know,
Yes.
where it is like, okay, I no longer in that category. You know, that it's another chapter in my book of life. And
Yes.
and what is this chapter? Because quite honestly, you know, the pen is in my hand. I can make it whatever chapter I want. But you first got to go on that self-discovery of who am I now? What
Yep.
do I want? What can I contribute in a different way to what I have been doing, but also incorporates some of the skills and the knowledge
Oh,
from what I have been.
absolutely. I completely agree. And it's scary to do.
Mm-hmm,
It's fun to
mm-hmm,
do. It can be exciting to do it. And like everything else, I feel like when I talk to other people and I realize that other people are going through the same thing, it makes me feel better.
mm-hmm.
And when we can also kind of smile
Yeah.
about what this is, what this time is, it's just so much more fun. It
Well, I
just
mean, it's,
is.
you know, one of the people that I've had on, Jeanette DePate, aka Fat Chick. She's a bigger chick than she does exercises with people, but she did a hot flash in the middle of Times Square. So all the women on menopause, you know, having hot flashes, they did a hot flash dance in
I
Times Square.
love that.
And
I
you know,
love
it
that.
is, yeah, I mean, going through menopause, you
Right.
know, and
Totally.
it's the whole emotional thing that goes through it, the physical thing that goes through it. And it's like, let us own it. Let us lighten up and have a laugh over it or have a cry over it, because this is your body
Yes.
changing and everything else is changing. Stop trying to hide it, stop trying to ignore it. Just go through it with a little humor and a lot of support.
Absolutely, completely. And that's what I try to do truly on my Instagram posts and stuff like that. It's all about that.
Yeah.
It's about the hot flashes.
Yeah.
It's about sagging boobs. It's about the wrinkles. It's about
You're
it's
still
about
in place, honey.
sitting in traffic. God bless you. It's about sitting in traffic and right back at you. It's about sitting in traffic and like wanting the person in front of you to move their damn car already since
Yes.
the light turned.
Move your
And
blooming
just
ass.
right, exactly. And it's like I think that it's okay to call it what it is,
Yeah.
to say this happened, this is happening to my body, this is what I'm seeing in life. It's pissing me off, or it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, hot flashes,
Yeah.
when you just start sweat, you're talking to someone and then
Yeah.
you just start sweating and like your hair is matting
Yeah.
down and there's nothing you can do, and you can't hide it, but you don't want to say it, but why? We
Right.
all go
You're in the
through
fridge.
it.
Haven't you been in there? Make up your mind what you want. No, no, I'm fine.
Exactly. Just cooling down in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like we all go through it. And it's like you said before, if you can laugh at yourself and not feel like you're being laughed at,
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
God, what a relief. What a weight off my shoulders that I'm not alone, and that it can be funny, or even if it's not, it just kind of just acknowledging it, calling it what it is, being able to know that you're not the only one. It's
Mm-hmm.
just more, I think it's just way more fun than being alone and being sad about it, and judging yourself, feeling judged by others, you
That's your
know.
next book, you know, the hot flash book.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you know, I think it also helps the husbands that are still around, because you've been mom, you're running around with this kid, that kid, and all of a sudden there is no kids, and he thinks, oh, good, more attention on me. All right.
Yep.
And then they kind
Yep.
of may coincide with hot flash time, or, you know, no, I'm going to go back to school, or I'm going to study this, or I'm going to do that and do that. And well, I thought we were going to have more time, you know? And it's like, you go to work. I was an at-home mom. I did other things as well, but I was also mostly an at-home mom. And you come home, you've had your day, right? And it's we make very often on different pages. And I think
Hmm.
if you can make fun of it, and if you can lighten up, and you can, you know, they don't know what to say to you when you're having a hot flash, right? It's like, oh God, do I point it out? Don't I? Will I get my head bitten off? And, if it's like, quickly get the ice box, you're lightening it up and or maybe even
Yep.
empowering them to do something for you. I need a cold shower. Want one with me? It's
Right, right. Look, it's when your kids are off to college and you're back, you're home. That's part of the part two.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
part of figuring out what
Yeah.
your marriage is now,
Right.
what your home life is
Yes.
now, and it's different for everybody. One of the things that one of the jokes, one of the do's and don'ts in my book is, always be there to answer the phone when your kid calls. But the don't is, but it's okay to take a little break sometimes. And it's, my husband and I in bed, like,
Yeah.
it's okay sometimes.
Yes.
And, it's a comic strip, so it's it's
Yes.
not R-rated. It's PG, the cartoon. But,
it's okay to be sexy at 50, 40, 60, 70, 80.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
But being able to see it for what it is,
Yeah.
talk about it, figure out what works for you, smile, joke. It just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you made a point there about the kids finally call you and you're busy, right? And it's like, you're not going to drop everything to take that call, because you've also got to let them know you've got a life now.
Absolutely.
I'll get back to you when I'm not busy. But if I'm busy, whether with the husband or out doing something for yourself, friends or anything like this, it's if you can, text back busy, call you back later. And if not, then they can wait for you, because very often they make you wait. So,
Absolutely.
And it's kind of a lesson for them to know you're not always on call when they want you,
Absolutely. It's a lesson for them, and it's a lesson for us that it's okay to be busy, to have your own stuff going on. And, it's actually, that's one of the images is truly me texting my daughter towards the end of the book, as I'm getting, very wise through this whole experience, is that I'm actually with the girls right now. Can I text you back later?
Yeah.
Because,
it's your time now.
It's my time now.
Yes.
It's our time now.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And that doesn't take away from being mom, doesn't take away from any of that, doesn't take away from the love. In fact, it's about the love too. You got to love yourself. You got to love the kids. You got, your husband, whatever.
But that's actually kind of, you're so busy as a mom spending your love on everyone else. This is the time for, what I'm going to turn that back in and do for me now. A little love on me. What do I need? What do I need for this next chapter? What nurturing do I need? Right. And the thing is, we can't keep on giving if we're not replenishing. And this is an excellent time for you to kind of take that review and go, all right, you know what? The excuse was the kids, the kids, the kids. I don't want the excuse now to be the husband, the husband, the husband.
Right.
I want it to be me. And then there is an us.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's an excellent time to take that time for your own rediscovery.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why, it just makes me laugh. While you were saying that, I completely agree with you. And it made me actually, one of my Instagram posts is me on the phone with a friend. And it's basically saying how you can't make an excuse when you're an empty nester. And so it's a picture of me next to a fishbowl and the goldfish. And I'm like, I'd love to come out, but I can't because the fish isn't feeling so well tonight. So you run out of excuses when the kids are out of the house.
Too. Exactly. And the other thing is that we haven't been very good as delegators. Right. And so people are used to us doing everything for them. And now it's like, well, you know what? I'm going to be doing X, Y, and Z. You can do for yourself now. What?
Yeah, totally.
So, the thing is, in reviving your relationship with your spouse, or, whatever relationship is there, whether it's just friends or whether you're still married or whatever the case is, in that reviving or reparameting what that relationship is, they need to allow you to go on your own self-discovery, so that when you kind of go, you know what, this is who I am now. This is who I am now. This is a whole new opportunity for you to love me in a different light.
Right. Right. And for us to love ourselves in a different light as we figure out who we are.
That has to come first before the invitation.
Exactly.
Right?
I agree.
You're not the same woman I married. No, you're not. And God forbid you should be. Because it is about constant growth and different layers of ourselves at different stages in our life. And we never stop growing, and we never should.
And by the way, doing exactly what you're saying is teaching our kids, because they see what we're doing. They see that we didn't just sit down and give up when they left. They see that you keep growing, that you're able to continue to move on, to learn, to pivot in life, to love, to have friends, to exercise if you want, like all the, to live.
Yes.
And I really do think that the best way that we can teach our kids is to do.
Yes.
And by the way, that doesn't mean that we can't make mistakes. We can do that too. God knows I make those mistakes.
Oh yeah. But that's how we learn.
Book about it.
You're right.
But truly, that's about learning.
Yeah.
And I think by saying, I messed up, or maybe that was too much, or maybe I shouldn't have handled that way. But acknowledging it, apologizing, talking about it. I mean, that's, I kind of think, a really good way to teach your kids life lessons.
And they're going to go through kind of a shock period where I got divorced, and then all my kids, started leaving home. And then 5 years later, I got into another relationship. They didn't like the person. So that didn't go down very well.
I'm sorry. I'm sure that was hard.
Oh yeah, it was hard. And then, and then, that came to an end. I went into podcasting, and it was like Mum's just dabbling a little bit. This week is my 10th anniversary. So
dabbling, look at this.
Yeah. So 10 years of doing this now. So
amazing.
Thank you. I found a niche. I found a groove. I found a place where I felt I belonged, but I had to go down a number of avenues of misdirection to actually recognize the right direction when it came. And they are doing that themselves, but their parents are meant to be the rock. So when they actually do see mom or dad or whatever going through this rediscovery and maybe making some choices that aren't their favorite, or you do make a mistake that kind of is a bit costly, it is like, but mom, yeah, you're mom. You're not meant to go through this. No, I'm woman who is a mother, and the woman is going through this. I'll always be your mother, but I am going through this. And if I make mistakes, or if I fall, perhaps you can help pick me up.
Right.
And as my son says, Mom, I'm going to help you. I'm going to do for you. And then he goes, because you gave birth to me.
Yeah.
You gave birth to me, and you were there for us.
Yeah.
Now it's time for us to be there for you.
Right. Well, you taught them what it's like to be there for someone.
Yeah.
And how to help someone. I mean, you showed them what to do. And
but
that's
they also
awesome.
had to go and make their mistakes.
Of course.
They had to go and have those pivotal moments of a wrong decision and a right decision. But that decision came about from, if I made that decision, I know it would hurt mom, because this is not the way she taught us.
Right.
It would hurt myself, which would hurt mom.
Right.
So, we don't know the
there
impact.
You are on their shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't have to be with them if we have taught them well, with love, with respect, with teaching them their own self-respect. And with my kids, always taught, these are your boundaries. If you're going to push the boundaries, understand you will pay a price.
Yeah.
That's up to you. Be willing to pay the price. Right. And, they made a lot of those mistakes still under my roof, and I could be there to help them pick up. You idiot.
Of course.
It was a wrong move, wasn't it? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's move on now.
Totally. You could be like, what the heck was that?
Yeah. What were you thinking? And it's like they learned to own it, and they learned to own that wasn't a good choice. That's in my memory bank. I'm not going to go down that path again. Right.
Yeah.
But for them to see you now doing that as an adult.
Yeah.
It is a little bit of a shakeup for them. But then they get to that stage where they see who you've become because of it.
Yeah.
And it's a whole new relationship you have with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's exactly what it's all about. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a beautiful, the relationship between a parent and a child is just a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
and like anything, it also grows and
Yes.
changes, and you learn from each other. And right, I mean, I learn from my kids all the time,
All the time.
and I like to tell them when I've learned from them
Hmm.
sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes some of it I like to keep to myself. I'm kidding, but it's a beautiful thing, and it's like anything. Of course, your relationship changes as you grow and as they grow, and it's fun to see that some of the lessons that you tried to instill in them, when you can see that they heard you,
Hmm.
right? Awesome.
Yes.
That's the
And
best.
I went down a road where I ended up being bankrupt and homeless for a while for a choice that I made. And of course,
Uh-huh.
it upset the kids completely to see their mother like that, right?
Right,
And
sure.
financially, I've never recovered, but they've seen that I'm more enriched and abundant now in what I'm doing and who I am today,
Wonderful
even
that,
when the funds haven't caught up. But it
yeah.
is so for them, it's like, no, mom, it's our turn now to look after you. And my
Yeah.
daughter and her husband are going to build an in-law house on their property for me down the
Oh,
road. And it's
wonderful.
like, yes, she's going to have a second baby. I'm there to help her with that. And she said, but then I'm there for you, mom, in
That's
your old
great.
age. So you don't need to worry, right?
Yeah.
I watched my brother and sister look after my mum, who became bedbound, and my brother ended up having a heart attack because of it. And my
I'm
sister ended up with
sorry.
a hernia that caused a problem. And it was no preparation for a situation like that. And then it became, and it was in England, so not here, I couldn't help. Um,
Right.
and I don't want my kids ever to go through that. And that's the thing. We don't want to ever put our kids in a situation where we feel they
Hmm.
have to be responsible for us. But as they pointed out, you gave birth to us, right? You
Yeah.
raised us. And it gets
Right.
to a time that we need to look after you. That is the circle of life. Now, we've
Yeah.
said that to them somewhere along the line, but we don't want to actually be the person that does need them. But it does
Right.
happen. And we need to allow them to step into their roles of being supportive of us at a certain stage in life as well. And that's okay. It's a
Yeah.
hard one, I'll tell you, but it's okay.
Totally. That would be a fun book. That would be a fun do and don't book.
Yes,
Like,
yes. The reversing of the roles. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
it's hard for them to see you going through things and making mistake and kind of hitting your
Sure.
own devastation, because they never want to see that with a
Of
parent.
course.
But then they see how you rise up from it.
Right. Well, and look at you and look what you're doing right now. I mean, what kind of a lesson is that, to be
Mhm.
able to turn your life around that way and be doing what you're doing and showing them that that that
Never give up, never give
that
in.
never give
There's
ex-
always another chapter.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, that's like, what kind of, I mean, that's the best lesson you could ever do. Anything you could say
Mm,
wouldn't do what you
no.
did by showing them.
And that's the point. That's why when the kids go off to college, investing in yourself, discovering
Totally.
something for yourself. For you, did
Totally.
you think, oh, I'm going to write these books?
Yeah.
That I'm going to be doing the illustration, kind of making fun of myself, and this is going to be my
Totally.
avenue, right? But
Not
you
even a little bit.
allowed, you
No,
discovered, and look where
right.
you are.
No, totally. I never expected to write a book. I
Mm,
came home, my husband and I came home after dropping our oldest off at college, and we came home and I couldn't sleep. I woke up super early the next day, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I kind of knew that I was going to do something a little bit different. I just didn't know what.
mhm,
And I sat down at my computer and I just started writing because I had all this emotion
mm,
and I had all this stuff to say, and about what I did, about the stuff I saw around me, about my friends, about truly everything. And I
mm.
just truly ended up writing. It was so therapeutic
Yeah.
for months. And I had a professor in college who always said, "Show me, don't tell me."
Yeah.
And I always thought that was that
Yes.
makes so much sense. And so I had the idea for the illustrations, and that's how the illustrations came out, because I thought, oh, the comics could be a really fun way
Mm-hmm.
to show, to show what I was thinking, what was going on in my head, what I was seeing and what I was thinking and all of that. And so this has been a very long experience with this book. I never set out to write a
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
But yes, exactly. It's like I didn't expect it, but I just did something because it was what was kind of calling me at the moment.
Yes.
And so I just kept going with it.
And look at how many more books can still come out of you. As I said, the
I
hot
hope so.
flash, you know,
Yeah.
uh, even not yourself, but other people, the changes of relationships in life,
Yep,
because many people
absolutely.
do divorce. It's very actually rare, the
Of
percentage of
course.
people that are together, and many people do divorce. And then it is the reaction of the kids with a
Yeah.
new partner, whatever age they're at. All of these books will be such wonderful kind of fun manuals, right?
Right.
Because you are making
Right.
fun, you are bringing up sensitive situations, you are
Yeah.
presenting them in a way where we can have a laugh, but it also means that people could buy the book, and it can be that introduction to wanting to say something
Yeah.
that you don't know how to bring it up, but then you give them the book and you laugh about the book, and that becomes the opening, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's permission to
Yes.
have those feelings. It's
Yes.
permission to have those emotions, or to and to realize sometimes that you're not the only one that thinks that way or
Yeah.
feels that way. Makes you feel like, oh, this is okay. So maybe I can say this out loud
Yeah.
to my kid or my spouse or my friend or myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Saying it out loud to yourself sometimes. It
Yeah.
is like, oh, I've just said that.
What?
Now I've got to own it.
Right. Now what do I do with that?
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But as you said,
Yeah.
doing it with humor. My daughter is a beautiful artist, but her face, she's more of a sketch artist, and it's very kind of um misfigured contortionist type thing, which it
Wow.
is, I really wanted her to do a comic type thing where it
Uh-huh.
was speaking, having the three heads or the elephant head or this, it could be
Yeah.
in its own graphicness. It could be a wonderful storytelling of invitation, of perception and opening up. She then went in to get her degree in social work, etc. And I think the artist of her will come out later, because it's there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful art, and it prods conversation. So yes, you've
Right.
got the words there, but people may look at the pictures and the comments first, and then go back to actually reading the
Right.
actual words, because that
Yeah.
becomes, oh gosh, yeah, that was me. What did she say about it?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. Yes, exactly. My favorite part about having written this book is exactly what you just said. So very often when someone reads the book, what and or they look at some of the cartoons, or whatever it is, what comes out is they start telling me their story about when
Yeah.
they brought their kid to college, about what happened at their drop off,
Mm,
about what happened when they returned home with their younger kid or
mm,
their husband or a friend,
mm.
or their own career
Yeah.
or not, whatever their life
Yeah.
decisions were. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it's about. It's about
Mm.
getting it's the art that your daughter does. It's about getting somebody else to relate and
Mm-hmm.
feel
And open up.
and open up.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It really is. If we can bring that out in each other, what a beautiful thing.
I
So
see so
I
many books in you. I really do.
oh, that's so nice.
Don't rest on this one. This is an art form that really, as I said, it opens up the conversation, because we can laugh at it, but at the same time, but yeah, on a serious note,
Right.
right? Or I'm laughing at it, but oh God, I didn't realize I actually did that.
Right.
Right. So, it is that way of if it's just written and it becomes too much like of a manual type thing, and do I really want to read this? But it's a great cocktail book where people can pick it up, even if the kids
Totally.
haven't gone to college. It's just the things that we want to say and the things that we
Yeah,
need to say. It can be relatable in any aspect of our life,
absolutely.
because there's always that balloon above us that really wants to say that.
Exactly. It's letting that
Yeah,
balloon be heard.
yeah,
That's exactly right.
yeah,
And it's a tale also about letting go, whether it's
yeah,
sending your kid to college or sending your kid to kindergarten.
yeah,
Or I had someone tell me that it reminded them of, they literally brought their dog to like a daycare kind of situation because they were going away and she didn't want
yeah,
to say goodbye. And she's
yeah.
like, it actually made me think of your book. Like it was
Yes,
just, it's so I just think that yeah, there's a lot of
relatable emotions. And that's
exactly.
the thing. And basically it is of letting go, and it is of rediscovery. It's okay. I mean, like, my daughter with my 1-year-old grandson, because she is working now, um, her grandson goes to daycare 2 days a week, and it was,
Yeah,
worrying about him. And then the other day
right.
she posted a picture, and he had a kind of a bit of a bloody nose. He got beaten up. What happened? Immediately grandma comes in. No, two toddlers waddling collided and smashed into each other,
And you're ready to go beat up
Oh,
another
exactly.
toddler.
Because
You're like, I can
immediately,
take that toddler.
the grandma wants to kind of, and it's like, she kind of hits it with the humor, and her husband is very humorous as well. That it is that thing. And when she first, was going to have the baby, it's like, we want the first 2 weeks on our own, mom, and we just want to get that bonding thing. And then she had
Sure.
a terrible birthing, and ended up with a catheter for 4 weeks because her bladder
Oh,
collapsed and everything. And then it was, mom, and I went down there, and she looked at me and she said, how did you do it with 3?
right.
And suddenly they stepped into motherhood, and she saw how much work it is. And I had 3
Yeah,
of them, right? And the husband wasn't always
amazing.
around, and I
Right.
simply said, I don't know. I just did it.
You just did it. But you did it. You
Yes.
didn't you didn't you didn't stop. You did it.
Couldn't. You couldn't. You've got 3 lives responsible on you. You have
Right.
to just deal with each situation. And then we've just celebrated his year. And when we look back on,
Congratulations.
thank you. Oh, yeah, we had the
Happy
whole family
birthday.
there, aunts, uncles with their partners, even my ex there, and the other grandparents. It was wonderful.
So
He
fun.
had no idea what was going on, except he was center of attention. But it is looking at a review of his life. They've literally done every week a video blog on that week and what he learned.
Oh,
And
nice.
it's for him one day to look back on, because in that first year especially, so many changes, right? And
Right.
then when you send your kid to college, or they leave home for whatever reason, and you look back and go, where did that 16, 17, 18 years go?
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
having those memories that you can revisit and look at the various stages that you've gone through with them, I think is very comforting for you, and also very surprising when we look back.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And fun.
Mm,
And, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for all of us, right? Is where did the time go? Where
yes.
did the time go? It just goes by so quickly. And so if we can, if we can make the ride
Yeah.
as fun as we can, that doesn't mean that serious stuff doesn't
No.
happen. Of course, I mean, that is life,
Yes.
right? But we
But
can learn
making
from
fun of
it.
the serious situation afterwards, it's or
Yeah.
addressing it in a way that it doesn't bog you down, right?
Yeah,
Because that's what we don't want to get
exactly.
trapped into something. And humor has a way of opening us up, lightening up, and then being able to
Yeah.
let go.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes us lighter.
Yes.
It really does. It makes us lighter and realize that we are all in it together. So let's just try to enjoy
Yeah.
enjoy the ride.
Well, I mean, you've written this about college, but it can be that first day of school,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Or you're going back to work, and now your kids in daycare, or as you said, your
Right.
pet, which for
Right.
so many of us are children, right?
Right. Of course.
And
Yes.
it's like, those do's and don'ts, and your balloon of what you want to do, and and the
Yep.
way you should do it. And it's like, if you can't laugh at that balloon, then you start feeling guilty about that balloon thoughts. And it's like, no, no, no.
Right.
You want somebody that you can chat with and go, you know what, that balloon, that was me. Right?
Exactly. Exactly. And that, like I said, that is my favorite part about the book, is when I hear from somebody else a tale that it reminded them
Yeah.
of something that
Yeah.
they did, and they're laughing at
Yes.
how they realized, what they were doing when they were unpacking their kid in the dorm room, or what
Yeah.
they said to their other parents in the room, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just look, emotional times can make us act in emotional ways.
Yeah. And you've got
And
the
that's
psychology.
okay.
Yeah, it's okay. And like, I'm British, and we all went to boarding school.
Uh-huh.
All right. So, I mean, this is the same type of thing. You're sending your
Yeah.
kid off young, not as a young
Right.
adult, still very young. And you're like,
Yeah.
you're not there.
Yep.
And you're not molding them anymore. Now the school is, and there's all these
Totally.
anxieties. So it is, yeah, it's okay for us as mothers to have the anxieties, but we've also
Totally.
got to have the trust in the love and the guidance that we've invested in our children.
Absolutely.
And
And yep. That's what I always say, is that, the book is, if I'm judging anybody in this book, and judging myself,
yeah.
and the reason for all of this emotion and the thoughts and all of that is because of my overwhelming love for my children.
Yeah.
If I didn't care, I wouldn't have all of this going on.
Exactly.
I care. I love them. And, that's what it's about, So
And you've got the parent is like, can't wait for them to go.
Of
Right.
course.
And it's
Of
like, and
course.
it's, there is the other side of that.
Yep.
Oh, thank God they're out of the house. I've now got time for me. But
Yes.
that's also okay.
Totally.
We never
Yes.
stop being a mother, but we do stop being the mothering, you know?
Absolutely. And I also think that you can be both of those
Yeah.
things sometimes.
Yeah.
You can be like, okay, get the hell out of my house. Love you, but that's a big attitude, or that's a lot of
Yeah.
what's going
Yeah.
on, or your independence is kind of challenging, or
Yes.
whatever it is. And God, I love you, and I'm
Yeah.
going to miss you, and
Yes.
all of those things. They can work together. And
Do you ever remember the commercial for the butter and the margarine, and the kids come home, and it's like, but where's the butter? No, we're using margarine now. I've got to go.
So I don't remember that,
Kind of the
that
parents
I can
hide the butter and
relate.
bring out the margarine, so the kids will go.
That's very funny.
It's like,
I
yeah, okay,
love
we
that.
understand that. But
That's great.
it's yes, let them go off and have their independence, but then as they do that and they discover themselves, they're going to want to have more time and more connection with you, and it's
That's
on
the
a
hope.
different level. Please don't expect your kids to be the kid that left. They're in that discovery, they're forming, they're becoming. Be excited about
Right.
who they're becoming, right?
Yeah,
And then
totally.
they see you're becoming, and you can start exchanging the becomings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what it's
So is there
all
a
about.
second book in mind?
So yeah, for sure, I would love. My website, which I told you, is miserablemoms.com, and the Instagram account is at miserable moms, and I have 4 categories that I've kind of expanded the Miserable Mom brand to encompass. And so there's the questionable parenting, which clearly is me. There's midlife unfiltered, and as I said, that's all the midlife stuff that we go through. Starvation and torture, which is diet and exercise, and holiday havoc, because I mean, nothing says motherhood like crazy holidays.
Yes,
So
everything's
those
got
are
to be perfect. Yeah.
exactly. So, those are certainly thoughts for another book. I would love to do another book or more, turn
Yes.
it into a series. And I think that there is a world in which there is a place for Miserable Mom as a brand.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to figure it out. I don't know yet. I'm as excited to see where it goes as anybody.
And the miserable mom is a double entendre, right?
Of course,
You're
it's tongue
miserable
in
because they're
cheek.
gone, or you're miserable because they're there. I mean, we have both sides of the story.
It does, and it's funny. It's also like a tongue in cheek thing. Like
Yeah.
I get asked all the time, "Are you really miserable?" And I'm not miserable.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite happy. I just like to look at life for what it is, call it what it is,
Yeah.
and I don't think that makes me miserable. I think it just makes me honest.
Yeah.
And, I like to say it out loud and realize that it's not just me. I love when people are like, oh my God, me too.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the best gift, right?
Yeah. And, this whole thing about motherhood, oh, so magical and da 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 da. No, there are moments you want to throttle them.
Of course. There are times I want to wring my kids' necks. They can drive me up a wall. My husband can drive me up a wall.
Yeah, exactly.
My friends who I love can be the most irritating people.
Exactly.
I wouldn't trade it though.
Right. Exactly.
I wouldn't trade it, but it's true. They
Yeah.
drive me crazy. By the way, I promise you, they would all say the same about me.
Right.
I
Exactly.
drive them. I drive them
Exactly.
crazy.
But that's life, and that's the embracement of life, and doing it through humor. Let's just not take ourselves so seriously, and let's have a laugh. That laughter is a wonderful releasing of endorphins. It is a wonderful way of releasing past pain. One of the things as a society, and especially as women, we hold on to things. The pain and the anguish and everything else. We feel guilty about it. We feel victimized by it, and that is just going to cause dis-ease and break your system down, and then you are really going to be miserable. So if we can lighten up, if we can laugh at situations, if we can go, what was I thinking, what was I doing, let it go, I think we would be much happier moms. So it's basically recognizing, we can be miserable mums, but let's step into the joy of it. Have a good laugh at ourselves.
Exactly. Truly.
Well, I hope you write more books and come back and share with us, because there's so many topics there that you can
so
cover.
Many. So many. Truly. And as I said, this has been such a fun process. It's been hard and challenging, and I've had to learn so much, which I never thought I would have been doing at this stage of my life, but there it is. Who knew? And I'm glad I'm doing it. And I think I've got a lot more to say about a lot more things. So I hope that there will be follow-up books as well.
Yes. So having said that, where do people get the book? How can people reach you? And also your Instagram and Facebook as well.
Great. So thank you. So the book is available on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon Books and type in Miserable Mom, here, I'll hold up the book, The Do's and Don'ts of Sending Your Kid to College. That's the way to get the book. Or you could go to my website and you could get the book there too. It's miserablemoms.com. And my Instagram is at Miserable Moms. It's all Miserable Moms. And Facebook too is Miserable Moms. So so buy the book. Or buy it for a mom that you think would enjoy it.
And
Mother's Day.
Exactly. And it's not just for college. It's for any of those times where you have to let your kid go for a moment, for a day, for a lifetime. And it's like, we very easily get lost in being the mother that we lose who we are. And, that can cause us to be miserable. And we can hold on to our kids too much without, it's okay. It's okay. We can trust that they've got this. And we're there if they're going to fall. But sometimes they need to fall to learn to get back up.
Absolutely. We did.
We did, and we still are.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we still are.
Yeah.
And will continue as well, right? Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
If we had all the answers, I don't know what we would be talking about right now.
Life isn't about having all the answers. Life is actually asking the right question, right?
Agreed.
So, and we discover that answer and we incorporate that answer into our beautiful journey of life. And it is about the experience of life. I'm too afraid to do this because I might get hurt. You've actually just hurt yourself because you're unwilling to go through the experience. So just allow. You sat there and you wrote, and it manifested into a book. It manifested into a site. It manifested into an entire platform with more books to come. The best design in the world of what your life should be wouldn't have done that for you. Right?
Of course, right.
You allowed the journey to unfold and become what it was meant to be, and look at the impact that you're having on other people's lives.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And with a touch of humor. We've forgotten how to laugh,
Always
folks.
with the humor.
Let's lighten up.
Totally.
We see people like dear old Will making a mistake the other day. Yeah, no, Will, what were you thinking? And if people want to tour and quarter him and damn and everything else, and oh, excuse me. So you're mistakeless. You've never reacted, right? You've never got emotional and out of control, right? So, let us judge less and have a little more compassion, and
let's laugh.
Let's laugh. Yeah. Not at other people's expense.
No, not at people.
Yeah.
Let's learn to lighten up.
Yeah. Laugh with them. Right.
Yeah.
And it's, we can make fun of at ourselves. And we've also got to know the sensitive subjects there too. Right.
Don't
Look,
go there's there. A time.
Yeah.
There's a time where laughter is not appropriate.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I think that when it is, let's let it out.
Let's have a damn good laugh. Have a wine party, WHINE, WINE, and laughter party.
Exactly. I like the way you think. Truly.
Well, I'm glad that you wrote this book. As I said, it's very much needed. You can get it from Amazon. So it's just Miserable Mums, the do's and don'ts of sending your kid to college, but don't just get put off by the college, because really it's about letting go of your kids, whether they're going into preschool, school, into different programs, or whatever the case. It's just even about just letting go in your own life, the reins of holding on too tight. And you can go to miserablemums.com, Facebook Miserable Mums, Instagram at Miserable Mums, and look at everything else that she's doing there, because I guarantee that not only you're going to have a good laugh, you're definitely going to relate to it. And, when we do that, we open up that conversation, we lighten up, we forgive ourselves for the little thoughts or things that we do, and just realize it's life, folks. It's life. Go and enjoy it. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Sharon.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really, really nice. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, my pleasure. See you on the next book. And folks, don't forget to have a good laugh at life, because that good belly laugh releases a great deal. And then you start to see what really is important. Until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. Please tune in to our selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows, and you will see all the other genres that we have from you. Every week on Tuesday, we bring you new shows from illuminating people. If you know someone that should be interviewed, please contact us at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com. Now stay tuned for your next show.